openSUSE Tumbleweed is one of the most underrated Linux distro out there. This distribution is just awesome. However, there is one little caveat. And dude, we're gonna talk about it in this video and we're gonna also solve the issue. So let's get into it. I'll give you a little hint. It's the Nvidia driver. As always, let's start with a little bit of context. After installing openSUSE Tumbleweed, you're gonna arrive on this screen. What I've done is that I use one of my spare SSD to create a fresh install, and like that you're gonna have an opportunity to follow this tutorial for you to get through the Nvidia driver setup. What I'm going to cover now is two different ways to install the Nvidia driver on openSUSE Tumbleweed. And depending on which path you are taking to install the driver, you're gonna have totally different outcome. Not in terms of like performance and usability, but more outcome in terms of maintenance and in terms of customization. And I believe this is one of the big caveats of openSUSE Tumbleweed, because if you don't know both of the pathway to install the driver, or even not to install the driver at all, you guys are gonna hate this distro, which suck. I would say if you pass those two steps, you're gonna be golden on openSUSE Tumbleweed. So please try to follow me, because it might sound a little bit complex if you're a beginner, but I'm gonna do my best to make it like super smooth. So as you see, we are the September 20 or 2023. Wayland here is not ready yet. So if you have an Nvidia card, please choose X11. Also, this tutorial is not for the AMD GPU user. If you are an AMD guy, you can just like give me a thumbs up, play the video until the end. But yeah, you're not going to learn anything here. However, if you are an Nvidia user, this video is for you, so don't skip it. I'm gonna log in. And as you can see, this is not it. Okay, this is not it. I have a 1440p monitor and the resolution is just disgusting. So we're gonna go on console, like the terminal, and we're gonna do a little like fast fetch. Yeah, my resolution right now is 768p at 60 Hz. It's just disgusting. I shouldn't be there. So if you right click and go to your display setting, you will see you have nothing, which means like the drivers are not correctly installed. You are on Nouveau. And if you want a triple check here, we're gonna clear there and do ls mod. Just checking which module are actually loaded in the system, and we're gonna do a grep Nvidia, and there is none. So if the driver were correctly installed with a module, you should get something there. Okay, no problem. So let's figure this out. First thing you do, you go on the wiki of openSUSE. So openSUSE Nvidia, you search. And the first result should be okay, right? Here we go. If you look at their wiki, you're gonna see right away that on the second paragraph, they explain you there is the official, like, easy way to install, and the other one they call the hard way. So before I show you any of the way to install it, I'm gonna explain the difference between the first one and the second one. openSUSE has a really interesting way of installing the driver. What they do, they have their own like packages for loading the module of the driver within the kernel. What it means that if you go with the easy way, you're gonna get stuck with the kernel built especially for openSUSE. On paper, there is not a real issue, but you still need to take that in consideration. If you are a gamer like me and you want to install, let's say, like a TKG kernel, which is optimized for reducing the input latency, you won't be able to install it, because the way the modules are actually like loaded within this installation, they are dependent on the kernel. Another point I want to mention related to this easy way is the fact that you're gonna have secure boot installed all the way. So if you really care about secure boot, you don't want to lose that. You want to keep it this way. You want to keep it on this approach. And the third point is about the fact that in certain cases, installing the driver the easy way is not enough to simply work on a computer. I have one of my buddies who tried to enter the challenge and he could just not install the Nvidia driver properly using this method. The good news is that you have the second method I'm going to develop after. So let me show you how it's done. openSUSE, Nvidia driver, the easy way. Take one. All right, so special requirement. You need to have the multi-version feature for the kernel packages. I'm going to show you how to find that quickly. We're going to do a cat/etc zip.conf, and then you're going to grep the word, and you're going to see what come out. Multi-version provide multi-version kernel. Multi-version equal provide multi-version kernel. So this is okay. This requirement, we have it. It should be okay right off the bat. I didn't touch anything on this distro, so just to make sure. Now what you need to do, you need to add the Nvidia repository. How do we do that? For lib and tumbleweed, as root, enter the following in a terminal. It's brain dead stupid. You're gonna have to do that once in your life. You copy that, so you have to do it as a root. So it's gonna be sudo zipper install openSUSE repo Nvidia. Root, you type your password, and it's gonna install it. It is already installed. So the repo is already installed. So now, this is to make sure that you actually have an Nvidia card installed. I don't think you're stupid, but we're gonna follow the tutorial. Like if you want to install the Nvidia driver, you better have an Nvidia card. And you can see it's gonna show me the Nvidia Corporation AD102, which is a RTX 4090. So yes, I do have an Nvidia card. Now, how to install. So this is important. What they tell you here is that depending on the model of your card, you're gonna have to install different type of driver. If you have a GT 8000, 9000 device, it's gonna be the GO3 version of the driver. If you have the GTX 400, 500, it's gonna be GTO4. If you have the 600 series, GO5. And if you have anything above, it's gonna be GO6. We are in 2023. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be for you guys GO6, but just in case you have a really old video card, you know where to go. I have a card which is pretty recent, so it's gonna be GO6 for me. Now, what package are you supposed to install or not install? There is a lot of like explanation on the wiki, and I think it's a little bit confusing. So we're gonna do it together. So sudo for being root zipper se, and then you're gonna type Nvidia. We're gonna go GO6, and here you're gonna have all the packages related to your hardware. So now we have the list. You just need to read the summary on the right and install the one you really need. If you want to use the driver in the desktop environment, I advise you to and install the full meta package for the full installation there, and installed what they call like the KMP, which is the bootloader for loading the module into the kernel. You need that. You also need all the OpenGL driver, both 64-bit and 32-bit there. And you also want the Nvidia video and utility. This is the base for you to get moving, I would say. On top of that, if you want to go further and use all the CUDA computation type of abilities of your card, you're gonna have to go with Nvidia Compute there. Install all of those. So how do we do that? You type sudo zipper install, and you're gonna just like copy and paste the one you need. Simple as that. I know it's tedious, and especially if you are a beginner, but you're gonna have to do it once and then it's done. So I press enter. Yeah, there is gonna telling me like, okay, you need all of this. You're gonna say yes, because it's all the dependencies that are required for the driver to actually work. And you have to accept. So you go down there with page down, you tap yes, and here we go. It's gonna install everything. Here we are. We have everything installed right now. So just to double check, I'm gonna redo the research and see what is installed or not installed. And you can see it installed everything. It also installs the compute. So now you know that you are fully loaded when it comes to driver. They are fully loaded on paper. So the next step is to reboot and verify that everything is okay. Because right now we install the driver, but they need to be loaded into the kernel via the module. Let's reboot. So to reboot, sudo reboot. Ta-da! The resolution look way better. So I'm gonna type my password. But I can tell you right away, like, we are good. Because you couldn't have this resolution without the driver. When you are on Nouveau, it's another story. So I'm gonna go back on console. I'm gonna do a fast fetch real quick to confirm that we are in 1440p, which is awesome. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Voila. So we are good now. I'm gonna do a ls mod, grep, Nvidia, and bam, I can guarantee that everything is loaded. We are solid. I prefer to do it personally with the command line because it makes everything easier to me. I'm not a fan of using any like GUI. But let's say you wanted to use a GUI and you are scared about the command line. You go in the start menu and you type YAST. In YAST, you're gonna have something called software management here. So you click on it and here you have access to all the packets. So what you could have done here is go and search for Nvidia and look, all the Nvidia drivers are here. The compute we did install, the driver kernel here, the drivers themselves and everything. So what you would have to do is just like click those little keys there, then press accept, and it would have done the installation for you. I just did it through terminal because for me, it's just like what I like to do. But if you are scared about that, you can go the other way. So don't hesitate to pause the video and look at all the packages installed and just do the same. And now you know how to install the Nvidia driver the easy way. Let's jump on the hard way, my favorite one. Again, we're gonna log in our fresh Tumbleweed install. As you can see, we are not in 1440p. That's a fact. We're gonna verify just for sure that the Nvidia driver are not loaded or installed. No, they are not at all. So this one, I could go through the actual wiki, show you how bad it is. I went through it and I'm not sure it explains already what it's all about. The idea is that with the easy way of installing the driver, you use the own like KPM version of the Nvidia module loader provided by openSUSE. What we want to do is use like the normal version called GKMS, and we kind of like go outside of the openSUSE lane and more towards the open source Linux type of way of doing it more globally. Okay, so how do we do that? So the first thing you want to do is install the GKMS. To do that, you do a sudo zipper install GKMS. Type your password. There you're gonna accept, and there you're gonna type yes. Now it's installed. What you need to do is make sure the GKMS service is enabled and started. To do that, you're gonna go sudo systemctl enable to enable it. Now to start it, GKMS service. Enter. Boom. You want to verify it's actually working? Sudo systemctl statue GKMS service. Up, you can see here it's active and it's enabled too. So we are good to go, okay? So you have an error, but don't be worried about it. You shouldn't have it on your hand. So now what do you need to do? You open your browser and you go on Nvidia Linux driver. Unix driver. Hello. Here we are. The one you want to take is the latest production branch version. There is a newest one called Beta Vulkan driver, which is even more like up to date, but it's still in like beta version. I wouldn't recommend it if you do, you know, some type of production work. But if you are just gaming, yeah, go with this one. But we're gonna keep safe there and just go with the latest production branch driver. So you click on that and you're gonna download it. Up, download. So the first thing you want to do now, you downloaded the file, is go in the download folder and check if it's there. It is. Now we're going to make sure it's executable. You do a chmod +x, Nvidia, blah, blah, blah. And it should be executable. Now we're going to install them manually. So sudo space /Nvidia and enter. Distribution pre-install completed successfully. The first time you have, okay, so here you do continue installation. It's going to build the kernel module. Then it's going to ask you if you want to install the 32-bit compatibility library. Of course you want, yes. Would you like to register kernel module source with GKMS? Yes. So now it's doing its little work. Unable to determine the path of to install the lib lvnd egl vendor library config file. So this is not important. You just say OK. Now it's going to install all the driver for Linux. Would you like to run the NVIDIA Xconfig? So you say yes here. Your X configuration has been successfully updated. Perfect. And that's all. Now you know the driver have been installed. You need to do like 2 more things. So the first thing you want to make sure is to check if the driver install actually blacklists the nouveau driver. So the way it works is like when your computer boot, the kernel has some choice between the nouveau driver, which is within the kernel, or the Nvidia proprietary driver. And what you want to make sure is like it doesn't boot on the nouveau driver. And to do that, you need to blacklist the driver. And it's pretty easy to do. I'm going to show you. So you go to /etc modprobe.g. Here we're going to list everything. And you see here there is a file called nvidia.conf. And it has been created like 2 minutes ago during the install. We're going to see what is inside. And you see it's blacklisting nouveau. So it did what is required. So now you need to make sure that everything is going to be loaded properly. And to make sure everything is loaded properly, you need to run. So you don't need to run it in this folder, actually. I'm going to go in my home folder here. What you need to do is to regenerate the initramfs. So to do that, you're going to do sudo dracut-f. And this is going to regenerate everything, excluding the nouveau driver and including the new driver. Now we are good to go. Sudo reboot. And we'll see if we have the driver finally. So this is the important one. Like if you don't see nouveau up there, it should be okay during your boot. Here we are. I can tell right away we have a better resolution here. Like we are like miles away of where we were at before. Console. I'm gonna make it bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna check if the driver are installed or not and loaded. Ta-dum! Victory, guys. And if I go here and I check the display, I have all of them. So we are definitively good to go. We are solid. It's a victory. So with this way of installing the driver, you now have, I would say, like one more hassle. And what you need to do is just make sure that when there is a new Nvidia driver, you go on the website and you just reinstall them. You download them and you install them. That's all. All the other commands, activating GKMS, you don't need to do. You might have to do a Dracut, obviously, from time to time, but it's going to do it by itself when you upgrade the kernel, so it won't be an issue. Overall, I would say like you are good to go. They call it the hard way, but I don't believe it's that hard. It's just that if you don't know how to actually do it, you're going to get stuck. Personally, I use the hard way one because I like the TKG custom kernel, and it's definitively a big plus for me to use. But I would say if you are not a gamer and you just want to go with the flow, just go with the first approach. If you are a gamer and you want to make sure you have the latest kernel, custom kernel available, you want to do it on your own, I would say go with the second version of it. Also, like if you have problem with the first approach, you can go with the second one, and you might be able to not have issue anymore. Because the way openSUSE does is actually good, but it's so unconventional that I'm not sure if it could not create problem we never heard of before. So I'll let you decide, but this is also the beauty of Linux. You can do it whatever you want to do it. All right, this one is for the one who didn't leave the video yet and want to see a special trick to, I would say, like improve the way the kernel module, and especially like the Nvidia module, are actually loaded when you boot. So obviously we are going back to the Arch Wiki Linux there, but it's Linux, so what is on Arch works for everything else. The idea here is that we have a way to load the module via Dracut a little bit faster than if we were not doing it. So how do we do that? We're gonna create a file, a config file in /etc dracut.conf.g. So we're gonna go there first, like that you're gonna see how it look like. I'm gonna create a file called Nvidia, and we're gonna call it, we're gonna give it a number. We're gonna go 98, like a boss, .conf. So sudo nano. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy those lines. Okay, so what it's gonna do is like those modules are gonna be pushed directly through the initramfs. It's gonna go faster than if you were using just the command line. So you save, Control-O, Control-X to exit. What we're gonna do, we're gonna regenerate the initramfs again. So sudo dracut space -f. And now they're gonna load really fast. So guys, you don't have any excuse anymore. You're professional when you come to install the Nvidia driver on openSUSE Tumbleweed. You know the easy way, you know the hard way, which is not that hard anymore, right? You're owning. Now, when it comes to choice, I'm gonna repeat myself. I would go without a doubt with the hard way for multiple reasons I mentioned during the video. What it kind of worries me for the new user is the fact that they could arrive, install openSUSE Tumbleweed, and get totally stuck on the Nvidia driver. And if they don't have the chance to watch this video, well, they're gonna ditch the distro, and it will be a big mistake because this distro is actually awesome. What I would love to see from the openSUSE team is them creating a little GUI like the team of Mint did to install the driver after the first boot. I think even the easier approach, like install, it's still hard for a beginner. And when you pass this step, everything is just like rolling. It's really flat. This is the hard step in my opinion. So openSUSE team, like if you listen to me, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of like really good dev over there. Just do that. It will take you like 2 days of work, and you're gonna open the door to a lot of users which are not able or willing to watch my video or just follow your wiki. That's all. But if you pass this step, openSUSE Tumbleweed is just awesome. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel financially, don't forget to become a member on YouTube or on Patreon. I really count on you. To all the guys who already helped me through this adventure, guys, thank you very much. I don't know how to say it again and again and again, but thank you very much. Yeah, that's it, that's all. I will see you in the next one. And yeah, I have something else to cover again in openSUSE Tumbleweed. See you. Bisous, bisous.